Oh, yeah. Is it Tuesday? It's Tuesday, right? Is it Tuesday already? Wow. Finally, some good news in Star Wars, as Ahsoka Season 2 has just received a huge update from the actress who plays Sabine Wren, Natasha Liu Bordizzo. Also, for those Acolyte fans out there, there is still a lot more hope today than there was yesterday of there being a second season of The Acolyte, as Manny Jacinto has made it his lifelong goal to get Acolyte Season 2 greenlit. Also, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is currently being filmed, and we got some news about that. And just right now, breaking news, Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy just dropped some sort of teaser trailer again, and that comes out in 10 days. So, without further ado, let's dive into all of this. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon? What's up, chat? How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon? It's going to be a fun stream today. I can already feel it. There's good news in the air for Star Wars fans all across the board, from Acolyte fans to Ahsoka fans to Mando fans to everybody. We all got good news today, and it's going to be a fun-ass stream. But first things first, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Okay, let's do it. Brandon Baker, what is up? Adam, how we doing? Soundwave Chronicles in the house. Mando United, what is up? Sombra Luna, what is up? Agnes, how we doing? Fearless, what is up? Maggie in the house. Amanda, what's up? Jack Robbins, what is up? Starship 66, what is up? Chris, how we doing? Thomas, how we doing? Galaxy Love, what is up? King Shadow, what is up? Darth Raccoon, how we doing? If I missed you, you guys know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat, but let's give everybody a nice little
Hello there.
All right, my mind's moving a million miles a minute right now. So let's start with the big news, and that is Ahsoka Season 2. Over the weekend, Labor Day weekend, hope everybody had a nice long weekend. Over the weekend, there was a con called Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia. And this is every Labor Day weekend. There's this massive con down in Georgia called Dragon Con. And this year, we had a few familiar faces appear for Star Wars fans, and that is Natasha Liu Bordizzo, who plays live-action Sabine Wren, and Manny Jacinto, who plays Qimir in The Acolyte. And both appearances led to some crazy news online. So first, we're going to be talking about the Ahsoka Season 2 news first, as Natasha has given us the first sort of update on where production is at with this Ahsoka Season 2, as currently the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is filming right now. So without further ado, let's start up a poll in the chat and let's read this article right now. No messing around here today. We're not messing around at all. And if you haven't smashed a freaking like on the stream, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Smash a freaking like on the stream. And let's put up a new poll. Sorry, got a little away from myself. Are you excited for Ahsoka Season 2? Yes or no? Let's see it, chat. Ahsoka Season 2 seems like it's so far away, but it might be closer than we once thought. We got Skeleton Crew on December 3rd. We got Andor Season 2 early next year. We got Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy in 10 days. But after that, it's Ahsoka Season 2. When will that come out? Dead Mike, what's up? Says, did you beat Star Wars Outlaws, bro? Yes. We did beat Star Wars Outlaws in 6 parts. We streamed the whole thing on this channel. So if you want to go watch it, we already did it. But I did beat the game. I must say, Star Wars Outlaws, which we're going to talk about in a little bit later on in the stream, because we got some news about possibly Kay Vess coming to live action, along with Cal Kestis. But Star Wars Outlaws, story-wise, amazing. Yes, there was a lot of glitches here and there because it's the game itself. The fact that it's an open-world Star Wars game was really, really cool. I'm going to explore the world more. We kind of only played the story in the live streams just so that we could do it in 6 parts or less. But there's a lot of sort of side missions to explore. Lando Calrissian, Hondo Naka coming. You just got a lot of familiar faces. Boba Fett was in it. Jabba the Hutt was in it. Han Frozen and Carbonite was in it. References to Princess Leia. Kira from Solo, trained by Darth Maul. Like, so many things going all over the place. Sequel characters, sequel locations, prequel characters. Like, just everything everywhere all at once. Whoa. But it was a really, really good game. Story-wise, I would recommend. I would definitely recommend. But we'll talk about that later on in the stream. Let's talk about Ahsoka Season 2 right now, because Ahsoka is my favorite freaking Star Wars show ever! and I can't wait for season 2. So let's talk about it, shall we? Let's talk about it. All right, so this is coming from comicbook.com as they wrote this article. So let's read this, shall we? Shall we? How's everybody doing today, chat? What's up, chat? How we doing today, chat? Darth Thor says, did you lose any of your saves? The game screwed up my save files and made me restart, so I uninstalled the game. A lot of people had those issues with Star Wars Outlaws. Thankfully, I did not. And it really didn't, it didn't stop me at all. I mean, I had no issues with the game. That's my thing. I really enjoyed the game. Probably more than most, because I had zero issues with it. Yeah, PlayStation 5s were only affected, and I played it on Xbox, so, yeah. Boba Fett was in the game. He kind of. He wasn't like a role in the game, but you can see him. He's like in the background, kind of. Yeah. It's not really a spoiler because he's not really in the game, you know? Okay. Let's do this, shall we? Star Wars Ahsoka Star teases Season 2 filming finally starting. Let's read this. Nathan, what's up? Season 2 of Star Wars Ahsoka has already been confirmed by Disney, but based on the crowded schedule for Star Wars projects and Lucasfilm that Lucasfilm is working on right now, star of the series Natasha Liu Bordizzo, who plays Sabine Wren, recently teased that production on the second season is nearly a year away. At that rate, we'll likely shouldn't even expect this season to premiere until 2026 at least. Now, that might sound like bad news, but let's talk about it. Bearing any other obstacles that such a production faces, the new season is being developed by Dave Filoni, who is also tapped to direct a movie that is set to serve as a crossover between all the series that take place in this New Republic era, or, as we've coined it, the Mando-verse. Yet, he has previously confirmed that Season 2 of Ahsoka takes place prior to his movie. Keep that in mind. Prior to his movie, he did not say prior to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. We'll talk about it in a second. Okay, keep that in mind. While appearing at DragonCon on Twitter, per Mando 3 updates on Twitter, Natasha Liu Bordizzo claimed that production wouldn't start until Jon Favreau's The Mandalorian and Grogu movie wrapped filming, which would put it at a potential pre-summer 2024 production start. 2025. I believe this is supposed to say 2025. This year is 2024, right, chat? I'm not losing my mind yet, right? This is 2024 we're living in currently right now, right? What year is it, chat? I think it's 2024, so this is supposed to say 2025. Okay. Jon Favreau might be directing the movie, but Dave Filoni himself has confirmed that he is also helping develop the project. So I think this is pretty much what The Mandalorian has been this entire time. Jon Favreau is directing, Jon Favreau is writing, but Dave Filoni's right next to him helping along the way. So this Mandalorian and Grogu movie, although Jon Favreau is writing and directing, Dave Filoni is his partner. He's his co-pilot. They're working together to create this Mandalorian and Grogu movie. It's 2024? Okay, thanks. Yes, thanks, chat. Thanks, chat. I thought I was losing my mind for a second there. Okay, so they're working together to create this movie. Yeah. Okay. So it's entirely possible that Filoni won't even finish writing Season 2 of Ahsoka until sometime next year. Luckily, Dave Filoni previously confirmed that he had begun working on the sophomore series already. He probably started writing it when Ahsoka Season 2 was happening. Like, the story clearly leads into what's to come next with Bail and Skull standing on the Mortis God statues and all that fun stuff. So here's what he had to say about it. Because I've been writing Ahsoka Season 2, things have clicked, and I have a much better idea about where things are going to go. That's what Dave Filoni said when he was on the Happy Sad Confused podcast earlier this year. He also went on to say this. I will say, I have an opening I really like quite a bit. I'm very excited about it for that picture. I'm excited about the potential of just doing it. Right now, my focus is clearly on Ahsoka as well as the rest of the galaxy and how it's spinning. Obviously, Dave Filoni is now the chief creative officer over at Lucasfilm, so he has oversight on every Star Wars project that ever comes out from now on until he's fired or retires. So he's the guy now. He's the guy who's in charge of pretty much everything. So he has to make sure that every project is going off without sort of problems. So he's currently focused on Ahsoka Season 2 and the Mandalorian and Grogu movie while also focusing on everything else. So right now, his movie is sort of on the back burner, which makes sense because it's not supposed to come out for at least 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So keep that in mind. Since the season finale of Ahsoka and the dangling narrative threads related to Natasha Liu Bordizzo's character Sabine Wren, as well as Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra Bridger, fans have wondered what could be in store for these characters. Based on the timeline of a season 2 of this series potentially moving forward ahead of summer 2025, how did they mess this up so badly? It's likely that fans will be given an answer to those questions in a season 2, as opposed to Dave Filoni's planned New Republic film. So you're going to get answers to all the questions at the end of Ahsoka Season 2 in Ahsoka Season... at the end of Ahsoka Season 1 in Ahsoka Season 2, not Dave Filoni's movie. Okay, I do have one other article about this, but before we get to it, I want to talk about this. So first things first. Natasha was at DragonCon, said that filming for Ahsoka is going to begin next year after The Mandalorian and Grogu has wrapped. That's why she's not going to be able to attend DragonCon next year because it'll be in production of Ahsoka Season 2. That means that Ahsoka Season 2 will not release until, at the earliest, early 2026. So next year is 2025. We'll be getting Andor Season 2, and as far as we know, that's it. There could be some announcements at Star Wars Celebration that could be another animated show, maybe Tales of the Jedi Season 2, maybe Tales of the Empire Season 2, maybe Tales of the Sith, who knows? But for Ahsoka Season 2, it's probably not going to come out until 2026. Now, the big issue with that is the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie has a set release date because it's a movie, and that is May 22nd, 2026. So that's right dab in the middle of 2026, pretty much. It's earlier, but it's kind of in the middle. And that's sort of where Ahsoka Season 2 would release. Either right before that May 2026 or right after that May 2026. So the question becomes, will the events of Ahsoka Season 2 lead in to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, or the opposite? Will the Mandalorian and Grogu movie lead into Ahsoka Season 2? This is sort of the time frame that Natasha Liu Bordizzo has set up for us with this news. What comes first, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie or Ahsoka Season 2? What do we think, Chet? I mean, for me, I want to see Ahsoka Season 2 first because that first season of Ahsoka was freaking incredible and I want to see more of it. But I feel like it would make maybe a little bit more sense if the Mando movie came first and then Ahsoka came after it. Because first of all, the Mandalorian movie is going to draw a lot of attention to Star Wars, a lot of attention to Disney Plus in particular. And if they go with the Mando movie and it makes billions of dollars, and then immediately after they're like, you want more? We got Ahsoka Season 2 for you right now in June or July or whenever. I think that's probably the better option, even though we'll have to wait even longer to see it. Think about that. Ahsoka Season 2 will not release, possibly not release, until June or July of 2026. That's 2 years from now. Almost. It's September. But it's 2 years from now. Ahsoka came out a year ago. That's 3 years in between seasons. That sounds way too long. Think about this. Mando Season 1 to Mando Season 2 was 8 months. 8 months. Season 1 ended in December of 2019, maybe even January of 2020, not too sure. But Season 2 came out in September or October of 2020, yeah. So it was 8 months later, 9 months later. That should be the turnaround. A year, maybe 2. 3 years? 3 years. That's a long time to wait, especially with this story the way that it left off, the cliffhanger ending of Season 1. We want more. So, chat, when do you think Ahsoka Season 2 will release? Let's read this next article, too. So this article goes into more, I believe, of what Sabine Wren herself said in this thing. Okay. Star Wars Ahsoka Star reveals Season 2 will be filming at this time next year. Okay. Ahsoka, the live-action successor of the animated show Star Wars Rebels, debuted over a year ago on Disney Plus and since received a second Season 2 renewal. Since the announcement that the Star Wars series was set to receive a second season, updates on said season have been few and far between. There have really been almost no announcements about Ahsoka Season 2 in its current status. However, we will have a window as to when filming for the second season of Ahsoka will be underway. And this is where we have to kind of put our detective hats on and do some math to figure out when it will be released. According to those in attendance at Dragon Con, Natasha Liu Bordizzo, the actress who played Sabine Wren in the series, revealed that she will be unable to attend Dragon Con next summer due to the second season of Ahsoka being in production at that point, meaning by August of 2025, a year from now, the second season of Ahsoka will be filming. Now, this means a few different things, because filming for a production for a Star Wars live-action show usually takes about 5 to 7 months. Depends on the project. I believe Mando Season 1 took 5 months, while Mando Season 3 took 7. So it's kind of, it varies for each project, how long it takes to film. I'm sure Andor took a lot longer, especially Andor Season 2, because of the writer strikes. There's some unforeseen issues that can occur. But it's usually between 5 to 7 months. So this August of 2025 is at the end of the filming schedule for Ahsoka Season 2? Is at the middle of it? Is at the beginning of it? We don't know. We can only speculate. Now, if it's the end, that takes you to about April, March 2025 being the start of Ahsoka Season 2's filming. And if that's the case, if this August, September is the end of filming, then you're talking about a post-production time period. And the post-production time period for live-action Star Wars projects tend to usually be 6 to 8 months. This is the time after filming when all the CGI comes into play and all the visual effects and all that stuff comes into play. That takes usually 6 to 8 months, and then it releases at the end of that time period. So that would take us, if let's say it ends in September, and this is being very generous, it ends in September. Now you're talking September, October, November, December, January, February. At the earliest, February 2026. And if not, January, February, March, April. Now you're talking anywhere from February to April is when Ahsoka will release. The problem with that being is in May, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is released. So unless it's February into March, it can't be April into May because that will be the Mando movie and there will be a crossover that we don't want to see. So there's two possibilities here. This is the latest that the Ahsoka show will be filming, and it will end in August, it will end in September, and we could get it by February. Or this is the middle of filming or the beginning of filming for Ahsoka Season 2, and we won't see it till late 2026. Maybe July, maybe August, maybe even later. That's where we're currently at. Let's keep reading. The second season was expected to expected to begin filming next year by fans, though I'm sure there were some that were holding out hope that filming would begin in this year so that they could streamline it and maybe we could even get Ahsoka Season 2 by the end of next year. That's not seeming likely anymore. However, it's great to finally hear from someone connected to this series as to what the fans should expect filming for Season 2 to be underway. Given the window revealed by Natasha Liu Bordizzo, it's more than likely that the second season of Ahsoka will not debut on Disney Plus until sometime in 2026, which again, I'm sure many fans expected at this point. I think a lot of fans were holding out hope that we would see it next year, because currently the only thing on the docket, on the agenda for next year, is Andor Season 2. So let's talk about this for a second. Yeah, this just goes into the movies and stuff. Let's talk about this for a second. Currently, to end this year, we have Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy in 10 days. It's kind of like the Star Wars What If type series. It's going to be fun, I guess. I don't have high hopes for it. We'll put it that way. Then we have on December 3rd, Skeleton Crew, which is the next live action series, starring Jude Law and those 4 kids and all that stuff. Which, by the way, is not a kid's show. But after that, we go into 2025. And the only thing right now for Star Wars, set to release in 2025, is Andor Season 2. So are we going to go an entire calendar year with Star Wars content with only one show? I don't think so. And with this announcement that Ahsoka Season 2 is not going to start filming until the summer of next year, that means Ahsoka Season 2 is definitely not coming out. So what else would be coming out next year? What Star Wars project that we don't know about yet will be coming out next year? Now, to answer that question, I have another article for us. This is talking about the rumors that Lucasfilm has several unannounced Star Wars projects currently in the works. Several. So with that being said, next year in April, I believe 19th to 20th to 21st, something like that. I don't know. It's April somewhere. Is Star Wars Celebration in Japan. And at Star Wars Celebration, I can guarantee you we will be getting multiple Star Wars shows announced. Some that are already ready to go for 2025. Possibly a Tales of the Jedi Season 2. Possibly another animated show that we don't even know about yet. That could be a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. That could be a Clone Rebellion show. That could be anything. But at least one, if not two shows that will be announced in April next year that will be released next year. So let's read this article and let's speculate, shall we? We're speculating like crazy today, ladies and gentlemen. Like crazy. Let's read it. Lucasfilm reportedly has multiple unannounced Star Wars TV series in development. Let's see it. Last month, The Acolyte wrapped amid a divisive response from Star Wars fans, to say the least, and was promptly canceled earlier this week due to the poor viewership. As Star Wars fans and Lucasfilm dust themselves off to look at the future, Skeleton Crew awaits on the horizon with the December release date of December 3rd. A series co-created by Spider-Man Homecoming duo John Watts and Christopher Ford, set during the same time period as The Mandalorian, and follows a group of children that get lost in the galaxy far, far away and seek to find their way back home. Skeleton Crew is just one of 3 shows left for Lucasfilm that they've announced. That's it. In those 3 shows, I should say, are Skeleton Crew, Andor, and Ahsoka. We just talked about this. Okay, so Andor next year and Ahsoka Season 2 likely to arrive in 2026. Star Wars fans have a lot to look forward to within the next 3 series mentioned, and a plethora of announced movies, first being The Mandalorian and Grogu, due to arrive on May 22nd, 2026. However, some fans have been wondering about what the future of live-action Star Wars television is, whether we'll see a slowdown due to Disney Plus cutbacks and amid a handful of movies slated to release in the upcoming years, or if they're just going to keep on going. That's the big question. We've been getting 2 to 3 Star Wars live-action shows a year since 2020 for 4 years. Are they going to cut back to 1 a year? Are they going to cut back at all? Or keep going with all these movies coming up? The Mandalorian and Grogu movie, the Dawn of the Jedi movie, the Rey movie, Dave Filoni's movie, Sean Levy's movie, like all these unannounced or announced Star Wars movies that are currently in development. Are the live-action Disney Plus series going to slow down? Let's keep reading. In his latest newsletter, Jeffrey Snyder from the Insnyder.com, that's pretty funny, has revealed that Lucasfilm at the time has several new shows that simply haven't been announced yet that are in development. Now, they're most likely all going to be announced, or some of them are going to be announced at Star Wars Celebration next year. That's where I'm sure the next big announcement is going to come. But right now, we don't know about them yet. We don't know what they're going to be about. We don't know who they're going to be about. We don't know when they're going to take place in the Star Wars timeline. Right now, there are several unannounced Star Wars projects. So tell me, in the chat, what do you think those projects are? What do you think those projects are? Okay, let's keep reading while you put that in the chat. Snyder provided no insight as to what those series will be about. But hearing Lucasfilm is hard at work on the TV side of things will likely delight fans amid Disney's focusing their effort on theatrical releases, switching their focus from Disney Plus, which was the company's priority for a handful of years. With Star Wars, they took a break from the movie theaters. After the sequel trilogy ended in 2019 with Rise of Skywalker, they took a break, at least a 7-year break, because they wanted to rework what they should be making when it comes to Star Wars movies. Currently, the release slate with The Mandalorian possibly trilogy and Dawn of the Jedi, it looks promising, but only time will tell. Are they still going to be focusing on TV shows? This claims yes. It shouldn't be too much of a surprise that Lucasfilm is preparing future series on Disney+. Disney and Lucasfilm will likely pull back on a number of Star Wars shows that will be releasing every single year, as Star Wars movies will start to hit theaters. Disney and Marvel Studios are set to pull back on the number of TV series on the streaming service for Marvel Studios as well, and its parent company looks to adopt a quality over quantity approach, which likely won't come into fruition for the next couple years, given that Marvel Studios already has 4 live-action series being filmed and ready to be released over the next 12 months. Agatha All Along, Daredevil Born Again, Ironheart, and Wonder Man. I didn't know Wonder Man was already filmed. Interesting. So they're cutting back over at Disney. There's a lot of issues, to say the least, at the company of Disney when it comes to getting money. We'll put it that way. When it comes to making money, Disney has struggled because right now Disney Plus is not a profitable thing. They spent so much money on the television shows themselves and marketing the company of Disney Plus itself, or the streaming service of Disney Plus itself, that they are not making money off of the streaming service, which is a problem. So they're trying to focus more on theatrical releases because that's where you can make more money, and they're trying to cut back on just the amount of quantity of projects that are being released every year. And instead, they're focusing on quality so that each movie or show is getting more views or making more money in the box office. It makes sense, and it's what they should be doing or should have been doing the entire time. Now, this more so is talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Marvel Cinematic Universe over the last 5-ish years has had hits and has had misses. It's had Loki Season 1 and Loki Season 2. It's had Spider-Man No Way Home. It's had Guardians 3, but it's also had She-Hulks. It's also had Miss Marvels, The Marvels. It's also had some misses. Star Wars, on the other hand, from my personal perspective, it has had its quote-unquote misses, but they're not nearly as bad as what Marvel is having as these misses. But it has had big successes, like The Mandalorian, like Ahsoka, but those successes are only on Disney+. Like I mentioned before, Marvel has had No Way Home make $2 billion, has had Guardians of the Galaxy make $1 billion, has just had Deadpool and Wolverine make over $1 billion. Star Wars hasn't had that. They haven't had any Star Wars movies in the last 5 years. So they're missing out on the box office returns of a giant multi-billion-dollar movie. And that's hopefully going to be the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, but we'll talk about that in a second. So now they're focusing more on quality and less on quantity, cutting down the amount of Star Wars and Marvel projects every year, but making sure those projects that do come out every year are really, really good. So this won't likely be put into effect at least for the next couple of years, as there are already stuff being produced over at Marvel, being Agatha All Along, which I saw the trailer for, not that excited, Daredevil Born Again, which I am excited for, Ironheart, and Wonder Man, which don't even know anything about. So we won't likely see one of these new Star Wars series until 2025 at the earliest, given that Ahsoka Season 2 is likely to release in 2026, and Lucasfilm is currently slated to release 2 brand new Star Wars movies in 2026. Hang on, pause. I don't agree with this. These unannounced projects not coming out until 2027, I don't agree with at all. I actually think 2 of them will come out next year, and maybe even one of them in 2026 as well. 2025 looks bleak and almost bland for Star Wars content. Andor Season 2 is going to kick us off to start the year, but after that, there's nothing on the release schedule. 2026, on the other hand, now that it has Ahsoka Season 2 and the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, fans forget that December in 2026 also has a Star Wars movie set to release. Most likely the Rey movie, maybe not, but it's most likely the Rey movie. So you have 2 movies in 2026 and Ahsoka Season 2. That's 3 live-action major Star Wars projects in 2026 already, while 2025 only has Andor Season 2. So I actually disagree with this article, and I think that one of, if not 2 of, these unannounced Star Wars projects, maybe animation, maybe live action, will be released in 2025. Well, let's keep reading. As for when we could get the announcements for these new shows, the obvious answer seems to be Star Wars Celebration 2025, which takes place from April 18th to 20th in Tokyo, Japan. I was close. I said 19th to 21st. I was pretty damn close. Okay, 18th to 20th. Lucasfilm are entering next Celebration with almost all the shows they debuted footage from at Star Wars Celebration 2023 being released. So last Celebration was over a year and almost a half ago. And at that Star Wars Celebration, they announced the Acolyte, the Acolyte was already announced at that point. But they announced Ahsoka, they announced Skeleton Crew, they announced Mando Season 3 is already coming out then. What else did they announce at that Celebration? I guess just Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, and Acolyte, right? And all those projects have come out since then. So all the live action stuff is going to be released by next Celebration, meaning it's going to be a lot more announced. So, at the time of the next Star Wars Celebration, none of the Star Wars movies that they announced at Star Wars Celebration will have been released. Dawn of the Jedi, the new Jedi Order movie, in the Mandoverse crossover with Dave Filoni, nor the film announced after the fact, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and the untitled Sean Levy film. Lucasfilm will more than likely look to give those in attendance something to scream and shout with joy about, and announcing a few new Star Wars TV series, which would be a perfect way to do so, along with including updates on a few of those movies. So that's what's most likely going to happen at Star Wars Celebration next year. Now, this is pretty interesting. I also have a sneaky suspicion that Lucasfilm will announce a project at the event with Godzilla -1 director Takashi Yamasaki. I apologize if I said that wrong. You guys know how great I am at pronouncing things. Okay. That's not based on any information at all, just simply a personal feeling. So this is coming from the meeting that Dave Filoni and this director had at the beginning of this year. Was it the beginning of this year? Or the end of last year? At some point they had a meeting. After Godzilla -1 was a huge hit, and it was praised because it spent so little money, like fractions on fractions of the amount that giant budget Hollywood studios spend on a movie. This spent a fraction of that, and it was of the same quality, and it was a really good movie. I actually watched it myself. I watched it dubbed over. But it was this massive success, and the director was being asked how the hell did he spend such little money, all this other stuff, and he had a meeting with Dave Filoni. So there's a possibility that one of these projects that does get announced at Star Wars Celebration next year will involve the director from Godzilla -1, which would be pretty cool, but that's just speculation for now. Yes. Okay. But let's rewind it a little bit. What's up, Navarro? Let's rewind it a little bit to these unannounced Star Wars projects. What do you think these could be? We know for a fact that one of them is an animated show, and we know that because a few months ago, there was an announcement that there is Lucasfilm was hiring new animators for a new animated Star Wars series. So one of them is definitely going to be an animated show. Whether that's an actual full-on show, like a multiple season show, or if it's just Tales of the Jedi Season 2 or another Tales show, we're not sure. But there is going to be an animated show announced, most likely at Star Wars Celebration next year. But now the real question is, what are the live-action projects they got in the works over there? Because it's almost impossible to guess what they could be. We could fantasize about what we want, but what they could be is very hard to tell because of the announcements that came before. The Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, Andor, even Ahsoka, or even The Mandalorian, honestly. We didn't know that any of those were going to happen, and it's hard to predict that they're going to happen anyway. Who would have thought we wanted a Cassian Andor origin story, and who would have thought it would have been so good? Who would have thought we wanted Skeleton Crew? We don't even know what this show is going to be about, really, if we're being honest. and it comes out in a few months. So it's hard to predict what's going to be the next show to be announced. We can sort of dream and hope and pray that we get a young Palpatine show or a Vader show or an Old Republic show or whatever it may be. But let's have some fun, chat. Let's have some fun. What do you want to see get announced at Star Wars Celebration next year for new Star Wars content? What do we think, chat? Nestor, what's up? All right, let me scroll up a little bit here because I missed so many chats. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Going back to Ahsoka Season 2, I wonder who the new Baylan Skoll actor will be, though. That's a big question that's a big question out of them with Abeloth? Oh, okay. Yeah, so when it comes to Ahsoka Season 2, there's a few big things that are happening. First of all, Abeloth. The big rumor going around is that Abeloth is currently being cast, or the mother is being cast. And that would just be insane if they brought Abeloth into live action. First of all, because she's so ridiculously powerful. But second of all, how are you going to pull that off? How on earth are you going to pull this off? Let me pull up a picture of Abeloth. Like this? How? It's like nearly impossible to pull this off and it not look either stupid or fake or just not realistic at all. Now, there is a way they could do it by just hiding Abeloth inside of somebody else, which she's done in the past in Legends. The big fan theory is Shin Hati. I mean, they introduced Shin. She's become a fan favorite character. She's got a creepy look to her. She barely blinks in Ahsoka Season 1, and she's got the blonde hair. She's got the creepy look to her. They could do something along the lines of Abeloth being Shin Hati. I could see it. But a lot of fans really, really want to see Abeloth come in. And that's what if they were to cast Jodie Turner-Smith? Jodie Turner-Smith, why does that name sound so familiar? Hang on. I gotta look up who that is. Jodie Turner-Smith. Oh, the girl who plays Mother Adisea in The Acolyte? No. I don't think so, because she's already got her character, and I don't think she really gave off any vibes of becoming Abeloth. I don't think that. I don't think that would work. No. Wookiee Talks, what's up? Yeah, I don't think so. The real issue would be pulling off this look, and she doesn't have to look like this the entire time. She could be hiding in plain sight, and then maybe you get glimpses of the creepy sort of smile and the very dark black eyes. I don't know. She also looks like an octopus, which is also another problem. She's got tentacles and stuff. Like, how are you going to pull that off? And explain the backstory of Abeloth, because it's so vast and so confusing. You're not only going to have to explain Abeloth, you're going to have to explain the Mortis gods too. The thing that Ahsoka Season 1 did so well was introduce Ezra, Sabine, Thrawn, all these new characters, even newer characters like Baylan and Shin, and have audiences understand who those characters are, or even not knowing the backstory of those characters, still understanding where they are in the current story. So you don't have to watch Star Wars Rebels or Star Wars The Clone Wars to understand Ahsoka. You can watch it and still enjoy it. But watching those shows gives you a whole backstory to Ahsoka, a whole backstory to Sabine and Ezra and Hera and Chopper. Gives you a whole backstory to all those characters. That is one thing. Introducing those characters is one thing. Doing the Mortis gods in Abeloth is a way more difficult thing to do if you're going to try and make it so that fans can understand it without having seen anything prior. If that makes sense. The Mortis gods are such a confusing topic because even fans who have watched the Clone Wars, or even some fans who have read Legends material, don't even fully understand who they are. Now, I'm going to try and put it plain and simple, or as simple as I can put it. The Mortis gods are three immortal beings. Three gods, so to speak. They're called the Ones, technically. They're just called the Mortis gods because they reside on Mortis. Already confusing myself. Okay, back up. They're three beings, a father, a son, and a daughter. The father being the balance between the light and the dark, the son being the dark side of the Force, and the daughter being the light side. They're the living embodiment of the Force itself. In the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka go to Mortis and meet these gods. This is where Anakin Skywalker finds out that the Chosen One prophecy is not for him to bring balance in the real world. It's for him to keep the balance of the Force itself, taking the role of the father after he dies. And he's supposed to be the one who keeps the balance between the son and the daughter. That does not work out the way that it's supposed to. The father dies, the daughter dies, and her essence is actually transferred into Ahsoka, so some fans think that Ahsoka is now the daughter. That's all you need to know. That's really all you need to know right now, is that these three beings, the Mortis gods, I'll show you a picture of them. Mortis gods. These three beings, the father, the son, and the daughter, are just the living embodiment of the light side, the dark side, and the balance between them. And Anakin Skywalker's role as the Chosen One was supposed to take the spot of the father. These are the Mortis gods. The father's in the middle, son's on the right, and the daughter's on the left. You can see Morai right there, the owl. That's the owl that follows Ahsoka around, because she is now technically the living embodiment of the light side of the Force. Now, where does Abeloth come into play here? Oh, why did I delete that tab? Come on. Abeloth. Where does Abeloth come into play here? Hang on, this is Abeloth. So, Abeloth was once a mortal being. This lady right here. She was once just a normal person. She lived on the same planet where the ones resided before Mortis, and she helped raise the daughter and the son. She became their mother. And as she became the mother, she grew older, and the kids did not. They were immortal. So the kids saw that she was growing older and went to their father to ask for her to become immortal as well. And while they were talking about how there's this pool of knowledge and this fountain of power, she overheard their conversation and went to go swim in said pools of water. That gave her this insane power, kind of looked like this. This is her crawling out of the pool of knowledge. Gave her this insane power that made her immortal and made her extremely powerful and evil. This led the father, the son, and the daughter with a difficult decision to imprison the mother on their home planet and leave, going to Mortis. So they leave their planet, leaving her imprisoned forever with their powers. So now Abeloth has been imprisoned forever. At least, so they thought. The father is dead. The daughter is dead. There's nobody left to keep this Abeloth character imprisoned. So now by the time of the Ahsoka show, or Ahsoka Season 2, Abeloth can be freed fairly easily because the Mortis gods are not there anymore. Now Baylan Skoll is left at the end of Ahsoka Season 1, standing on statues of the Mortis gods, looking off into the distance at a glimmering light, possibly the prison where Abeloth resides. And Baylan has been called there by Abeloth to go save her. Are you with me so far? So this is where Ahsoka Season 2 comes into play. The possible plot of this upcoming second season and Abeloth's introduction into live-action Star Wars. How are they going to explain that? I just did in about 10 minutes, and I confused myself. And I'm sure many of you are confused as well, unless you already have prior knowledge to who Abeloth is and who the Mortis gods are as well. But how are they going to explain that to the normie fan? The Mortis gods, Abeloth. This whole entire backstory of thousands of years. How are they going to explain that? It's going to be extremely difficult. But if it is done correctly, we could have Abeloth in live action. The most powerful dark side, or not even dark side, just most powerful dark being in all of Star Wars. She is that powerful. And in Legends, Luke Skywalker eventually, with the help of his friends, does eventually defeat Abeloth. But how are they going to do that in canon? It's going to take a lot more than just Luke Skywalker to defeat Abeloth. So, with all of that being said, the plot for Ahsoka Season 2 could be and should be Baylan Skoll going to free Abeloth, and Abeloth trying to get off Peridea. And Ahsoka, Sabine, Huge Wang, their goal is to keep her there. Like I just mentioned in that giant tangent of what I just went on about the Mortis gods, is that Ahsoka was brought back to life by Anakin Skywalker transferring the Force essence of the daughter, who's the living embodiment of the light side of the Force, into Ahsoka Tano. And like I said, most Star Wars fans think that Ahsoka Tano is now the living embodiment of the daughter, the light side of the Force. So it could be that Ahsoka was brought to Peridea, her destiny, to stop Abeloth from getting to the main Star Wars galaxy and taking the entire thing over. Now, this wouldn't be a Star Wars story unless she fails, and Abeloth does make it to the regular Star Wars galaxy we know and love, and now all of our heroes, from Luke to Leia to Han to Mando to Boba Fett to even the villains, Thrawn is probably going to help out too. They're all going to have to gang up together to fight against Abeloth. So Thrawn might not be the main threat that we want him to be. He might just be a guy trying to save his people, as he was in Legends and as he is in canon. Trying to save the Chiss, trying to save his own other big blue meanies. And maybe Abeloth is the true villain here. Whew, that was something. I don't know what just happened, but I think we just wrote the greatest Ahsoka Season 2. I think that's what just happened. Yeah. I think we even just allowed us to go into the next movie, too. If the Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out before Ahsoka Season 2, that movie can follow Din Djarin and Grogu and how Thrawn is coming to take over as the heir to the Empire. Cool. That sounds like an awesome movie. I'm totally there for that. If that movie ends with Thrawn winning or losing, or it doesn't really matter, however that movie ends, Ahsoka Season 2 will take it to the next level, where the next Mando movie, which is going to be Dave Filoni's Mando movie, could possibly not be about Thrawn at all. It's about Abeloth and the real villain here. Because Thrawn left Peridea in Ahsoka Season 1 in a hurry. Him and the witches were both running from something. Baylan Skoll mentions that in Ahsoka Season 1. They are running from something. They're not trying to get back home. They're running. And that thing that they're running from, the thing that made this entire planet a wasteland, is Abeloth. What do we think, chat? What do we think? Would that be something that you would want to see in Ahsoka Season 2? Abeloth being the main villain, Baylan Skoll going to free her from her prison? And do you want to recast Ray Stevenson? Ray Stevenson sadly passed away shortly before Ahsoka Season 1 was even released. But he gave us this incredible performance as Baylan Skoll. And now the character, the rumor is he's being recast. I don't know by who, but the rumor is he's being recast. And they left us with Baylan Skoll having a huge role, especially if Abeloth is going to be, a main role in the upcoming second season. Baylan is going to play a gigantic role in the upcoming Season 2 of Ahsoka. So they're going to have to recast the character. But tell me, chat, are you team recast or team deepfake when it comes to Baylan Skoll? Recast or deepfake? Again, I am always team deepfake when it comes to Luke, Leia, and Han. But for Baylan Skoll, let's do a poll. All right, we'll do a poll. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. All right. So that last poll, which is, are you excited for Ahsoka Season 2? 90% of you are, which is good. I hope it was more than that, but whatever. Should, hang on. Baylan Skoll should be ... recast or deepfaked. Actually, I'm going to add a third option. Actually, I'm going to add a fourth option. Never seen again. That's going to be my third option, actually. Only three options. Deepfake, recast, or never seen again. Margin says defaced. Now, this is a good option, too. There's a possibility that when Baylan goes to free Abeloth, he is taken over himself by so much dark side, or his face could get scarred, or whatever it may be, that allows us for us to never see his face again. He maybe has to put on a mask, or his face is so disfigured that he looks different. There's a possibility of that as well. But are you team deepfake or are you team recast when it comes to Baylan Skoll? I've said it a million times. When it comes to Luke, Leia, and Han, I am full team deepfake. I do not want them to recast the 3 characters. Nobody else should play the characters other than Luke, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford. Although I do like the Solo movie, which of course is not Harrison Ford, it's Alden Ehrenreich. And I do like Childish Gambino, what's his real name? Donald Glover. Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. I don't think that they should be recast in this Mandoverse time period. However, when it comes to Baylan Skoll, I am fully team recast. And it's not because of Ray Stevenson at all. He did an incredible job in Ahsoka Season 1. He is probably my second favorite character in the entire series. But his performance was so good that we need more of his character. And to deepfake just purely based off of one season of television, there's not nearly enough footage to create a good enough deepfake to continue Baylan's story the way that they need to in a second season. So with that being said, there needs to be a recast. Now, the question becomes, who will be the recast? Because there's a lot of actors in Hollywood that kind of look like Ray Stevenson. And I know a lot of you guys probably know them better. It's like Lev Schreiber, even Russell Crowe kind of looks like him. There's another really good one. Gerard Butler, is it Gerard Butler? There's a bunch of other really good ones. But tell me, chat, who would you want to see recast as Baylan Skoll? What do we think? Gerard Butler is solid. Yeah, he is. He definitely is. Ron Perlman. Huh. Frank, I don't know who that is. Let's look him up. Ron Perlman? Ron Perlman. Oh, the guy who plays... Wait, what? This guy? I got to disagree on this one. I don't think he looks anything like Ray Stevenson. However, Gerard Butler, he looks quite a bit. Now, he looks quite a bit like Ray Stevenson, especially like right there. If you just grade his hair, he looks a lot like him. Also, who are the other ones? Liev Schreiber. Is it Liev or Lev? Liev Schreiber. He looks quite a bit. You give him a gray beard and gray hair, he looks so much like Baylan Skoll. And then who was the other one? Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe. Especially now that he has the gray beard, he looks quite a bit like him as well. Yeah, so Vincent Regan, that was another one. Yeah, Vincent Regan. Vincent Regan. Jesus, Regan. Yeah, especially nowadays too. Again, he looks quite a bit like Ray Stevenson. So all of these are great options. The only problem is they're all very, very high-end actors in Hollywood, and with that comes a big paycheck, especially guys like Russell Crowe. It would be insane how big of a paycheck it would be. So they might go for somebody like a Vincent Regan, who's not as big of an actor as a Russell Crowe would be, but there's a lot of good options out there. Hopefully, they can do with the best of their ability, respect Ray Stevenson's incredible performance in Season 1, and continue that performance and continue the character with respect into more story. It's like Obi-Wan Kenobi. In a way, it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi in the original trilogy is played by the late, great Sir Alec Guinness, who at the time was a very big actor in Hollywood. And he did an incredible job. He's Obi-Wan throughout the whole original trilogy. They recast him as a younger version for the prequel trilogy, and they casted Ewan McGregor. It's a little bit different because, of course, it's a younger version of the character, but it's similar in a way. Ewan McGregor comes in, continues the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi, respecting Sir Alec Guinness's performance the entire time, and adding to it, making the character of Obi-Wan even better as the prequel trilogy continues. So the same can be said about Baylan Skoll. We are going to at some point get a prequel story to Baylan, whether that's in animation, in a Tales of the Jedi type show, or if it's in live action, in flashback sequences. But we will get some sort of backstory to Baylan Skoll, and that actor, whoever it may be, for the younger version of Baylan Skoll is also going to have to continue the greatness of Ray Stevenson's performance. So a recast is just continuing and respecting the already established character that Ray Stevenson gave us. And hopefully that's the right move. I honestly don't know if it is, but right now it feels like it is. Yeah. Gerard Butler's price tag might not be as high. That's probably true. It's not as high as Russell Crowe's, that's for sure. Russell Crowe's one of the biggest actors in Hollywood. Yeah. We do have a lot of options. That's true. We do. Strangely enough. Yeah. Strangely enough. All right, let me scroll back up here for a second so I can catch up on these chats. John Groom says, Shirley Abeloth is too powerful to bring in before the sequel trilogy. Otherwise, she would have been mentioned in the sequel trilogy. That is a big issue, too. There's still about 30-ish years, 25-ish years, until the sequel trilogy takes place in Star Wars. So currently, with the Mandoverse time period, since it takes place so close to when the original trilogy ended, there's a big time jump until the sequel trilogy, about 20, 25, 30-ish years. Now, if Abeloth were to come into play, one of the most powerful, dangerous, dark side beings to ever exist, if she were to come to the main Star Wars galaxy and fight against Luke Skywalker, Leia, Han, and the main heroes, I feel like it might be mentioned in the sequel trilogy. Maybe. Now, there is a way around this. There is. There's actually two ways around this. One, it just happens, and it doesn't get mentioned in the sequel trilogy. It's very similar to the Clone Wars and Ahsoka Tano never being mentioned in the prequels or in the original trilogy. Ahsoka Tano is a main character in Star Wars at this point. If you've watched the animated shows, you know that she's pretty much as important as a character like Obi-Wan or Anakin. She is there the entire time. She has the same amount of influence on Anakin falling to the dark side as pretty much anybody else. So she is a main character in Star Wars now, but she doesn't even appear in the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy. The same can be said about certain other characters as well. Characters that don't appear in the original trilogy, like a Harrison Dula, or I guess not Ezra, but Sabine Wren, or any of those characters that don't appear in the original trilogy but do appear around it. Bo-Katan, for example, as well. Any Mandalorians, really, except for Boba Fett, who's just wearing Mandalorian armor. But no Mandalorians appear in the original trilogy either. Those characters still exist, they're just not mentioned or seen in those trilogies. So it is possible for Abeloth to show up and it not to be mentioned in the sequel trilogy, but there is another. There's another way to go about this. Ahsoka Season 2 could be about Abeloth and her appearance, but it could also explain that Sabine, Hugh Wang, and Ahsoka are stuck on Peridia to keep Abeloth there. Currently, there is no way back, no way home, Spider-Man No Way Home, to the original Star Wars galaxy from Peridia, unless you somehow summon the space whales, but how are you going to do that when they're in the other galaxy? So there's no way home right now for Ahsoka, Hugh Wang, and Sabine. What if Ahsoka's real destiny, like she mentioned at the end of Ahsoka Season 1, she's supposed to be there. They're supposed to be on Peridia. What if the reason for that is to keep Abeloth there? So while Din Djarin, Boba Fett, Ezra, Harrison Dula, Luke Skywalker, Leia, Han, they're all dealing with Grand Admiral Thrawn as the heir to the Empire during this time period between the sequel trilogy and the original trilogy. Well, that's all happening. Ahsoka and Sabine and Hugh Wang, they're all just on Peridia protecting the galaxy from Abeloth. Nobody knows that that's going on, but that's what's happening. And it's not until after the sequel trilogy that Ahsoka loses to Abeloth, or she just dies of old age, or whatever it may be. Abeloth waits it out and finally defeats Ahsoka. And then after the sequel trilogy, she becomes the main threat to the Star Wars galaxy, possibly in the Rey movie. Now, here's the way that could happen successfully. We'll put it that way. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out in May of 2026, correct? Yes. May 2026, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie establishes Grand Admiral Thrawn as the heir to the Empire. Maybe Thrawn wins, maybe Din Djarin dies, and he's the Avengers-type death that the Avengers need to come together. The Boba Fett's, the Bo-Katan's, the Luke Skywalker's, the Leia's, all these people have to come together to fight Grand Admiral Thrawn as the heir to the Empire. Ahsoka Tano, Sabine, and huge frickin' Wang are not involved at all in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. They're not involved in Thrawn being the heir to the Empire in the slightest. Because they're on Peridia, protecting the galaxy from a greater threat. Abeloth. Then we get the Ahsoka Season 2 after the Mandalorian and Grogu movie in 2026. Probably in July, if I were to guess. In July of 2026, we get Ahsoka Season 2, where we learn about Abeloth. We learn about the threat of Abeloth and how Ahsoka is on Peridia to stop her. Forever. Fast forward to the end of the year. The Rey movie is released, and Abeloth comes to the Star Wars galaxy. So all in the same year, we see Thrawn become the heir to the Empire in the Mandoverse, and we see Abeloth become a threat in the Mandoverse time period, but Ahsoka is there to stop her. And then to end the year, Abeloth comes to the main Star Wars galaxy after the sequel trilogy in the Rey movie, leaving you speculating what the hell happened to Ahsoka. How did she not succeed on stopping Abeloth? Did Ahsoka die? Is Ahsoka still alive? What's going on with Ahsoka? And it also leads you to speculate about what's going on in the Mandoverse. Did Abeloth ever come to the Star Wars galaxy during that time period, or did Thrawn just become the heir to the Empire there? I think, honestly, that's the way to go. That's the frickin' way to go. You leave it so much up to fans' interpretation, so much up to speculation, and allow people to lose their crap about what's going on. How did Abeloth get free of Ahsoka? How is she now the villain of the Rey movie? The Rey movie needs a lot of help. We'll put it that way. I'm looking forward to it. I am. And I'm sure many of you in the chat are as well. But you can't deny the divisiveness when it comes to the sequel trilogy is going to be latched on to the Rey movie. Because that character was, of course, the main character of the sequel trilogy. So the Rey movie is going to need a lot of help. A lot of help in the box office when it comes to fans wanting to go see it because of the divisiveness of the sequel trilogy. That help might come in the form of Abeloth. Might come in the form of one of the greatest villains to ever grace the screen in Star Wars. It would be absolutely insane. But what do we think? And while you're typing what you think in the chat, can I get some good cups follow orders, please? Bum-ba! Hello there. Oh, and Darth Vader voice, Sigourney. Yes, so of course, guys, if you don't know already, becoming a member is the best way to support the channel. At the end of every month, we do giveaways. Last month, we gave 2 copies away of Star Wars Outlaws. In this month, we got another giveaway at the end of the month as well. So becoming a member, you get instant access to that giveaway and some other cool stuff. A members-only portion of the Discord. By the way, there's a free Discord in the description below called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately. But becoming a member is the best way to support the channel. And Super Chats also keep the lights on over here. And for any amount of Super Chat, I will do a Star Wars impression of your choosing. Star Wars impression of your choosing. It won't be good, but I'll try my best. Okay. I just always forget to mention that, and then you guys are like, oh shit, I can get Mike to do a crazy impression. And then you make me do stupid stuff, so I appreciate it. Okay. Nestor says, Wookie Talk says, CGI practical effects, secrets only Lucasfilm knows. Yeah, bringing Abeloth to life will be extremely difficult, but that seems like a difficult task that Lucasfilm loves to accomplish. Yeah. Lucasfilm loves to do those difficult things from the beginning. From 1977, when they created the first Star Wars, they had to create their own new cameras. They had to create their own new ways of creating visual effects. And since then, they've just been doing it time and time again. The first people to bring alive a full CGI character in Jar Jar Binks in the prequel trilogy. They used so much CGI in the prequel trilogy, it was a brand new thing. 2005, Revenge of the Sith holds up today as some incredible CGI. Incredible. And it was 20 years ago. 19, but you get the gist. 20 years ago. So it's been a while. Then you have even now with The Mandalorian, Lucasfilm is still doing new things with the volume, which is this just giant circular screen that allows you to do some cool stuff. Whatever. They're still doing new things. So if anybody can bring Abeloth to life, if anybody can bring this to life, it is Lucasfilm. I will say that. Yeah. For sure. They're going to have to nerf her powers a little bit. I really hope not, Kay. Yes, she is extremely powerful, but I feel like there's a way around it. You can make her extremely powerful and still somehow, with good writing, defeat her. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Let me put up a new poll, actually. Let me put up a new poll, shall we? Do you think Abeloth will be in Ahsoka Season 2? Yes or no? What do we think, chat? And by the way, that last poll is, should Bale and Skull be recast, deepfaked, or never seen again? 5% of you said never seen again. 12% said deepfaked. And 82% said recast. So clearly, the majority of you do want him to be recast, which is, I think, the way they're going to go, and probably the best way. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Right now, over 80% of you think Abeloth will be in Ahsoka Season 2. Oh, it's dropping a little bit, but 76% of you guys right now think that Abeloth will be in Ahsoka Season 2. That would be insanity. Absolutely insanity. Where was I? Shit. Gotta scroll back up here. Empire Films, what's up? Jason Isaacs, aka Lucius Malfoy for Bale and Skull. Ooh. He voices the Grand Inquisitor, doesn't he? That might be a problem because it's just his voice. So the voice might be an issue. But let's see. What does he look like nowadays? Jason Isaacs. Oh, shit. That's a great choice. This is Jason Isaacs. He plays Lucius Malfoy in the Harry Potter movies. But nowadays, he's looking quite like a Bale and Skull. You put a beard on that guy, you dye it white, and you dye his hair white. He looks quite like Bale and Skull. That's a great call. That's a great call. Whatever they did with Tarkin in Rogue One, spend the money for him. He deserves it. The problem is the Tarkin stuff in Rogue One was like a scene. It was a very brief scene too, and I'm sure it took a lot to create, but it was just one scene. When it comes to Bale and Skull, he could be a main character in this upcoming Ahsoka Season 2, and we want him to be because he's such an intriguing character. And deepfaking him for an entire season is going to be extremely difficult. We've seen Luke Skywalker get deepfaked for almost an entire episode in the Book of Boba Fett, which looked really, really good. But that's only one episode. I'm hoping Bale and Skull is in every episode of Ahsoka Season 2. Yeah. Rob says, recast, especially with the extra amount of time between Ahsoka Season 1 and Season 2. Most casual viewers won't even notice when the show returns. Unfortunately, with memory out of sight and out of mind. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but I think there's a way to go about it where you can recast him and still even maybe change the look of his face by hurting him, making a scar on his face or something like that to make the attention drawn away from the fact that he's been recasted. Yeah. Brandon says, if Balin is killed off screen in Ahsoka Season 2, then I understand Lucasfilm wants to respect the character like Chadwick Boseman in the Black Panther in Black Panther in Marvel. I understand the respect aspect of that, but I would have hated it. I would absolutely hate it. That would be horrible. Think about that. You're going to take a character like Bale and Skull, who has so much future and so much potential, which the same can be said about Black Panther, and then just throw him away. Like, I don't think that's what Ray Stevenson, I'm fully speaking just out of what I would think. I don't know what he would have wanted, but I feel like he would want his character to continue. But that's just me. What they did with Chadwick Boseman is a little bit different in Marvel. The Wakanda Forever movie, which is Black Panther 2, they did a really good job with that, actually. in the way that they did go around that. But they also had somebody to sort of take the place already of Chadwick, and that was his sister, Shuri, in the movie. So that's a little bit different. But yeah, I understand where you're at. Yeah. John Groom with a very generous $2 holla. I appreciate that, John, keeping the lights on over here. Says, can we hear the witches from the Acolyte say the power of many chant? Damn it, John. All right, let me try. Let me try. All right, let's see. Let's see. I appreciate it, John. Let's look it up. Power of many. I feel like the audio here is going to get us killed. Oh, here we go.
The power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
All right, I'm just going to do it along with this because this is horrible. Okay, here we go. Power of two, the power of many. The power of one, the power of two. The power of many.
The power of many.
All right. That's all you get, John. I appreciate it, though. Okay. With that being said, let's get back to the topic at hand here. Yeah. Bro, I wish I had a time machine. You don't even know how excited I am for Ahsoka Season 2. I loved Ahsoka, and now I have to watch Season 1 and Season 2 of Rebels. I appreciate Ahsoka even... Oh, now that I've seen Rebels Season 1 and Season 2, I appreciate Ahsoka even more. Yeah, so... It is a bummer that we have to wait 3 years for this second season. It is a bummer. But... hopefully it'll be all worth it. And the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is going to be in the same universe or in the same time frame. Actually, so is Skeleton Crew. So Skeleton Crew is going to be the Mandoverse too. So we're getting content in that portion of the timeline with Skeleton Crew and the Mandalorian and Grogu movie before we get to see Ahsoka Season 2. But I agree with you. I mean, Ahsoka Season 1 is my favorite single season of a Star Wars show to date. And I want more. I absolutely want more. Yeah. Oh, David with a very generous $5 holla. God damn. Says, why leave Shin on Peridia rather than have her leave with Thrawn? She must have a purpose moving forward to either help stop Balin or Abeloth. And impersonate Zeb, please. Okay, I'll get to the Zeb impersonation in a second. But going back to Shin Hati, again, I think the best bet here is to make Shin Hati just Abeloth. Like, she looks like Abeloth already with the white hair and the creepy look to her, and she's already a fan favorite character. I don't think many fans would be upset about that. Yeah. So I think that's probably the goal and why she was left there. It is kind of like Balin just abandoned her. So hopefully we get an answer to that. A Zeb impression? That's kind of interesting. I don't have it. Let me look it up. Zeb from Rebels. Actually, let's do... All right, we'll do this. Let's do Zeb from The Mandalorian, actually. See if we can get that scene. There we go.
Too bad. I really thought Navarro was gonna make it.
I'm gonna forward this to Coruscant. Request permission to intercede.
They haven't returned a dispatch in weeks. They're swamped. They'll never get an answer in time.
Damn, that's a hard one to do. But can we just take a second to appreciate how good Zeb Orrelios looked in The Mandalorian Season 3? Come on. Come on. That's so good. Yeah, I got to get him saying Carabast, don't I? Okay, well, I'm going to find a different one. Zeb saying Carabast. Carabast. Is it with a K or with a C? I guess it doesn't really matter. Zeb saying... Carabast Supercut. Here we go.
There are two of them. Carabast. What does that even mean?
Right now, it means
It's a trap.
Carabast. 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 Carabast.
This is awesome.
Carabast! 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 Carabast!
All right, he's got like a little, like, almost like a, I don't even know. He's got something in his throat almost. And I'm losing my voice, so let's try it. He's got like a Carabast. No, that's not it. Carabast. No, hang on. Let's try again.
Carabast! Carabast!
Carabast.
Carabast!
Carabast.
Carabast!
Carabast. Carabast. I can't get my voice that low. He's got a very low voice.
Oh, Carabast.
Oh, Carabast.
Carabast!
Carabast. It's very low. I don't know how.
Carabast!
Oh, Carabast. I don't know. That's the best I got. I apologize, David, but I try my best. That's Zeb is very hard. I did not think it would be that hard. Pause. Sorry. Okay. Where was I? Where was I? Okay. Annie K, what's up? Says, I think a replacement needs to be super the same. Oh, you mean like the look? The beard and the build will do it. It's weird. TV used to replace characters and say nothing. That is true. That's what TV series used to do. But now it's a lot more difficult because you're trying to make Yoda sound like Zeb sound like Yoda. I was at first, but I fixed it. It's weird because now Star Wars fans in particular, and just fans in general, notice that stuff too quickly. I feel like audiences have become more intelligent, almost. They've just become more observant and more caring about the product that they're watching. So they used to be able to just change a character like it was nothing, but now it's a big deal. Yeah. Yeah. I knew that he said Carabast a lot in Rebels, but I didn't know it was that long. Like, that was like a 5-minute video of just a compilation of him saying Carabast. That's pretty funny. Okay. Thrawn says, would they continue with his accent? He spoke in his natural tone. I would assume yes. Hopefully they don't change the accent of Balin. That would just feel weird, you know? Yeah, no? RG says, yeah, that's why I think she makes it out of the new galaxy and they fight Abeloth back in Chiss space. That would be pretty interesting. Because then you would have Thrawn not really be the bad guy anymore. It would be Abeloth, and Thrawn would probably be working with the heroes to protect his people. That would be a very cool twist on sort of the whole villain arc here. Because Thrawn isn't really a villain. He's just trying to protect his people. But right now he feels like a villain. You know? You know? AKA whatever Luke does in regards to his Jedi Academy is for nothing. Well, you could say that about pretty much everything. Think about this. The Clone Wars 7 seasons. We know that they're going to end with the destruction of the Jedi. Order 66 we know happens at the end of the Clone Wars. We know that Anakin falls to the dark side. And yet, the Clone Wars 7 seasons are incredible. They're some of the best Star Wars content we've ever received. So, even if we were to get a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple animated series, even knowing that all of his Padawans are going to die to Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren, maybe some of them escape. Like Order 66, we only thought that Obi-Wan and Yoda survived. Now, today, we know that so many more people survived. From comics, we know that Joe Costanu survived. We know that so many other Jedi that the Inquisitors and Vader himself hunt down in the comics survived. We know that Cal Kestis survived. We know Ahsoka survived. We know Baylan Skoll survived. We know Grogu survived. We know so many different Jedi have survived Order 66. So the same can be said about Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple, where there could be characters that we fall in love with over the course of a 7-season animated show during Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple's days that could survive or could have escaped Kylo Ren's killings. Yeah. And there's always the possibility of introducing a character like Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano wouldn't exist if we didn't get 7 seasons of a Clone Wars show. So that's always the possibility if you're going to do a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. And you get more of Luke, Leia, Han, Lando, Chewie, R2, and C-3PO in a time period where fans really, really want to see those characters. Yeah. Maybe Abeloth just stays in Ahsoka, being the baddie on Peridea only. Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, Ahsoka's goal could be to just keep Abeloth there. But that wouldn't really make for a good second season, you know? Just her protecting them? I don't know. We'll see. Huge what? What do you mean? Huge what? Mike, you should start writing Star Wars scripts. I don't know about that. I'm not good at writing a script. I've never written a script before, so I wouldn't know where to even start. I feel like I'm more just better as an idea man. I'm good at coming up with the ideas more so than the script itself. Yeah. I'm working on some what ifs though over here. Don't you worry. We got something big coming. To end this year, we got something huge coming for the channel. Big what ifs news, but also something that I think you guys might enjoy quite a bit. Yeah. We'll leave it at that for now. Yeah. Thrawn deserves way better than what he's got. Well, Thrawn's story has just begun. Thrawn in Rebels is unbelievably good. I'll give it that. Him and Ahsoka just doesn't have enough time to sort of show us who he is, you know? Thrawn and Ahsoka's only there for 2 episodes, and he is the Thrawn we know and love, but we don't have enough time to sort of see how badass he can be. He's also going up against 3 Force users in Ezra, Ahsoka, and Sabine, so it's kind of a hard fight for him. So, and he's also trying to just leave the Peridea and get to the old Star Wars galaxy we know and love. So we're really just been introduced to Thrawn for the first time. So Thrawn is getting so much more story to be told. Yeah. He's just gotten started, yeah. No way that Mando dies, bro. Disney won't allow it. I don't know about that. You would probably say the same about any of the characters who've died in Star Wars before. Liam Neeson plays Qui-Gon Jinn in The Phantom Menace. He dies at the end of that. Like, he's a big-time actor and a big character. Obviously, that has to do with the story being told, but he still dies. You know? Ahsoka could be in the Rey movie as a Force ghost. Well, we don't even know if she's dead by the time of Ahsoka. I mean, by the time of the Rey movie. Ahsoka Tano could very well be alive still by the time of the Rey movie. I wonder if the Rey movie will incorporate all those other characters. Like Grogu, like Ahsoka, like Jason Syndulla, like characters that would be alive at the time of that movie. I hope it does, but we'll see. Ahsoka convinces Thrawn to fight Abeloth. Luke watches her die, stopping Balin from setting Abeloth free. Ahsoka returns in the new Jedi Order movie, Rey's movie, as Ahsoka the White. That would be crazy. But she's already Ahsoka the White. She's already died and come back. That's what Ahsoka Season 1 was about. But I do like where your head's at. She could convince Thrawn to fight against Abeloth. Yeah. Interesting.
I got a bad feeling about this.
You know? Abeloth could be the threat that stretches in the Rey movie. Yeah, I could see that. Freak Zeke, what's up? I'm confused. Lucasfilm still making Star Wars, though? Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't they be? Grogu's the next Yoda trope. He's not going anywhere. Yeah, I think Grogu's going to be around for a long time. Yeah. The Rey movie gets new villains to use on Vaughn. I wonder if they're going to bring in the Vaughn, because they play such a big role in Legends, in Thrawn's story specifically, and the Abeloth story. But, I wonder. Amanda, what's up? You missed the Power of Many chance? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you did. Did Disney make Alien Romulus? I don't think they did they? Does Disney own the Alien franchise? I don't think so, right? I don't know. The tease of the Zepho on Peridea, where does that fit into any of this? Actually, that's a great point. The Zepho. Where do the Zepho fit into all of this? That's a great question. So the Zepho were first introduced 4 years ago, 5 years ago. When did Jedi Fallen Order come out? They're first introduced in Jedi Fallen Order. Disney made Alien Romulus? I did not know that. Huh. The more you know. Okay. But the Zepho were first introduced into Star Wars in Jedi Fallen Order. Let me show you who the Zepho are. Zepho, Star Wars. So they're sort of a new ancient species. They were introduced in Jedi Fallen Order. They look like this. And they're an ancient species that have been around for thousands upon thousands of years. And they sort of worshipped the Force. They're not really Sith or Jedi. They just worshipped the Force. They could use the Force, or some of them could use the Force, but they used the Force in different ways. Yeah. However, they've only made appearances in the Jedi games, in Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. There have been references to them in other sort of medias of Star Wars, but Ahsoka has reference to the Zepho on Peridia. In the carvings on the Night Sister, or not Night Sister, on the witch's, what is it? Catacomb, I guess. Yeah, for lack of a better word. On that sort of building, on Peridia, there's inscribing about the Zepho leader, actually. I believe it's Kujet, and something about his power. I forget what it really says, but it does have reference to the Zepho. Now, the Zepho could be taking the place of the Rakata in Star Wars canon. Rakata have been mentioned in Star Wars canon. They're mentioned actually in Andor when Luthen gives Cassian the Kyber crystal. He mentions the Rakatan Empire. So they could, I guess, both exist, but the Zepho are an ancient species in Star Wars. They've been around for quite some time. They have a connection to the Night Sisters of Dathomir, which is pretty interesting, and they got a connection to the Night Sisters of Peridia as well. So, with that being said, will the Zepho play a role in what's to come in the story of Ahsoka Season 2? Possibly. I really have no idea. But they're a very cool new add to the Star Wars lore, that's for sure. When people talk about Disney Star Wars and how they sort of create more lore. Did you see the Rebuild the Galaxy video that came out an hour ago? Yes. So that came out exactly when I pressed go live. Whoops. Exactly when I pressed go live on this stream. So we have not gotten to it yet. But there is a new trailer for Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. Or is it a trailer or is it just like a... Yeah, it's a trailer. Or is it a scene? Looks like a scene. All right, we'll watch it in a little bit, but yeah. We'll get to it. We'll get to it for sure. Actually, you guys want to watch it now? Let's just watch it now, should we? Is it true that Starkiller's mask was in Luthen's collection? Yes, it is Starkiller's mask, but it does not make Starkiller canon because it's just a mask. Yes, we know it as Starkiller's mask, but in canon, it's just a mask. Yeah. Will Palpatine be in Ahsoka Season 2? Interesting. Leading Thrawn behind the scenes? I don't think so. I think Thrawn's going to be his own villain, his own heir to the Empire. But it would be interesting to see Thrawn die or see Thrawn, his reign come to an end, and then we get sort of a look at Palpatine on Exegol and Snoke in the Rise of the First Order. That would be really, really cool. But I don't know if we'll see any of that. Yeah. All right, let's watch the trailer. Let's watch the trailer. Yeah, let's watch this trailer. Okay, so a little bit of backstory here. This show, Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, comes out in 10 days, 10 days from now. And it's going to be a what if for Star Wars in the form of Lego. So this is only a minute long. Let's just watch it through and we'll see what this is about. I haven't watched it yet. I haven't even watched it yet, so we're going to watch it together. Shall we?
So, do you know how to fly this thing?
I got this, okay? I'm the fastest pilot in the galaxy, old-timer.
Loving the confidence.
Okay, so should we go over basic interstellar travel safety instructions now, or...?
Punch it!
Oh, come on! You're not the only one who can use the Force, Jedi!
Whoa!
Jedi Bob, do something!
Jedi Bob, nice.
If you keep calling me that, I am going to let us crash!
Turns it into a
I've
bomber.
heard of upgrades, but not usually while you're in the middle of flying the ship. We're losing power. We're gonna crash.
I don't even know what's going on right now.
There's always another way to build.
We're running out of ground.
Don't stop.
But-
Trust me.
Oh, that's it. Okay. So that was it. Four-piece special event available on September 13th, so 10 days from now. I mean, it's going to be fun. That's for damn sure. It's a what if in Star Wars. You're going to see Darth Jar Jar. You're going to see Jedi Bob. You're going to see a Vader in all white. You're going to see a all black Millennium Falcon being piloted by Darth Jar Jar. You're going to see Ewok bounty hunters. You're going to see all this crazy stuff. So it's going to be pretty fun. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be the greatest thing to ever exist, but it will be fun. It'll be pretty damn cool. Yeah, so that's the sort of clip from that. I mean, nothing more to it, I guess, except for fun, cool adventure type. Okay, back to our topic at hand, shall we? Ahsoka Season 2. Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah, could we see the Zepho in the Dawn of the Jedi movie? Yeah, I mean, we definitely could. The Zepho have been around for so long, they would be around at that time. I wonder if we will. Imagine they like helped the first ever Jedi sort of exist. That'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Shit. Just go down all the way to the bottom. Tarkin worked because because it was a moment exactly. Wait, what? Oh, you couldn't do that for a whole movie. Yeah, exactly. Tarkin being CGI'd or even Leia being CGI'd at the end of Rogue One worked perfectly because of how it was executed. It's only one scene. It's not the entire freaking movie. Again, John Groom with a very generous $2 holla. I appreciate it. And David with the 5. I appreciate it. Dr. Nico says, Ahsoka simply doesn't have Luke's raw power, and she's not portrayed at Luke's level. Yeah, she doesn't have the same raw power as Luke, but she's been training a lot longer than Luke has. I actually think Ahsoka's a lot more powerful than she kind of lets on. She's more easy about her fighting style and stuff. She just kind of lets it come to her, you know? Lee, what's up? Professor X is objectively a more powerful character, and his actor was replaced one in the way for the second time? What? Professor X Professor X has been replaced, but that's because they, again, did the time travel thing, went back in time, and did a younger version of the Professor X character. Indeed. Okay. She might have some essence of the sister. Oh, okay. Talking about Ahsoka. But even it took the brother and the sister at full power to keep to fight Abeloth. I get you. Okay. Yeah. Abeloth is not going to be an easy person to defeat. That's why I think Ahsoka's going to fail. But season 2 of Ahsoka might be her trying to stop her. Yeah. For sure. Don't say that, dead Mike. Jesus. I'm not bothered about the chant. Maybe if it was done in a made-up language, it wouldn't cringe people as much, though. Yeah, that's kind of true. I get the chant being cringe. I was not a fan of it. But maybe if it was in like some ancient Night Sister language or something, that would be cool. That would be cool. Shin becomes Shin Abeloth. That'd be great. Yeah. Shin Hati has been a very flat character up until now. Well, that's sort of the gist of her character. She's almost played up to be something bigger at some point. She's always just straight-faced, doesn't even blink most of the time. But she quickly became a fan favorite character. Isn't Abeloth already imprisoned? Like she has already existed? How would Shin become Abeloth? That's a great question. That is a great question. Abeloth has, because she's so powerful, has the ability to take over another person's body. It's possible that Abeloth is so powerful, or became so powerful from bathing in the waters, that her physical form doesn't really exist anymore. And it's possible that she has to go into a host body, so to speak. That could be a possibility. But in Legends, she has been able to take over people's bodies. Yeah. Yeah. What's the lifespan of a Togrutan? For Ahsoka Tano, you're saying? I believe the lifespan's like 200. Especially a Force-sensitive one, it's very long. So she could live for quite some time. Yeah. Indeed. Indeed. Yes, Disney made Alien Romulus. I did not know that. I did not know that. The Zepho Sith God could still be what Balin is looking for. That would be a letdown, though. It would be a big letdown, because fans so just anticipate it being Abeloth that if it was any Zepho reference, or like if it was Kujet, the Zepho sage that he's talking about there, fans would be let down by that, I think. Yeah. I think, in my personal opinion. That one Zepho dude who had the temple on Dathomir seems like very Sith-like. Yeah, he was a Zepho sage, which is their version of a sage. Is pretty much their version of a Force user. I wouldn't say he was Sith or Jedi, but he probably leaned more the dark side for sure. Yeah. Lee says, "Hey, hey, 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 hey." What's up, Lee? How you doing? Okay. Christopher says, "Oh, I already read that. Will Palpatine show up?" Yeah. I hope Palpatine's in Andor Season 2. Me too. I feel like there was a missed opportunity in Season 1 of Andor to have Palpatine, because you have Mon Mothma in the Senate, where Palpatine should be, or at least could show up at any point. Yeah. Yeah. And was it ever confirmed that the weapon we saw in the Bad Batch was of Zepho invention? I don't think it was confirmed, but it's an ancient technology, and it had very similar sort of markings and graphics as to the Zepho stuff we see in Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order. So you can make the conclusion that it could have been something Zepho, but we don't know. It's weird that was never brought back. I remember watching Bad Batch Season 2, thinking the entire time that we were going to get some reference back to that, but we never did. Or in Season 3, like there was no reference back to that weird, like ancient being that they found. Weird. Very strange. Snoke kills Thrawn. What's up, Ian? I could see that. I could definitely see that. Because Snoke has to establish himself as a good enough villain, and he has to establish himself as the leader of the First Order. Like, the First Order wouldn't just follow him for no reason. So him killing Thrawn would kind of make sense. Yeah. Would love to see a canon Starkiller in the future, though. I would too, but it's gotten to the point where it's impossible for him to be Vader's apprentice. So the question becomes, would you guys be okay with seeing Starkiller in canon if he's not Vader's apprentice? If the character of Galen Merrick is just taken out of that spot and placed in a different part in the timeline, would you guys be okay with that? I feel like the whole gist of the character is that he is Vader's apprentice. And there's really no room for that anymore. We've had so much of Vader's time after Order 66 during the original trilogy explored. From Kenobi to Rebels to the Jedi games to comics. Like, it's been explored so much that him having an apprentice would have to be kept such a secret for nobody to know about it. Like, there's no way at this point that he could even exist anymore. Yeah. He could be placed as Rey's apprentice. Again, I would be okay with that, because Starkiller in any form I think I'd be okay with, but I think a lot of fans would kind of, like, the whole conversation would be, you take Starkiller from Legends, bring him into canon, and now he's not Vader's apprentice anymore, he's Rey's apprentice? Like, that would be the conversation online, and people would not be happy about that. But what are you gonna do? By the way, what is this? A TV show or game or what? Oh, the Lego Star Wars Jedi Rebuild the Galaxy thing? It's a 4-part series. It's a TV series. It'll come out on Disney Plus in 10 days. Yeah. Yeah. Bro said Ron Perlman. What's up, Jerry? Jeremy, sorry. Yeah, that was, I did not know who that was, but that's, yeah, not the best option. Will Anakin be back in Ahsoka Season 2? I hope so. I mean, at this point, he's got to be, right? I mean, come on. He's got to be. Because he was in Ahsoka Season 1 twice, and he was on Peridia as a Force Ghost. So I feel like he has to be in some sort of way in Ahsoka Season 2. Probably not in as big a way as you'd think. Like, you're not going to see him in multiple episodes, but he's got to make an appearance at some point, you know? Shiv, what's up?
Hello there.
Instead of Starkiller, they gave us the Inquisitors. Yeah, they were kind of a replacement for Starkiller. Starkiller was just too powerful to be brought into canon at that time. That's the issue. In the Force Unleashed DLCs or the extended version of the games, he kills Obi-Wan, he kills Han, he kills Chewie, he kills everybody. So you can't really have that sort of powerful character brought into Star Wars canon, you know? Yeah, I know. I watched your Season 2 Ahsoka video yesterday, and Mike, you had to say Ahsoka may die, didn't you? Somebody is always going to die in your episodes. Hey, okay? I'm just realistic, okay? I just play the realistic game, because what's the most intriguing thing that happened in The Acolyte, which was the last Star Wars show we got? What was the most intriguing thing that happened in The Acolyte? It was episode 5. In episode 8, when Jecki and Yor died, and then in episode 8, when Soul died. Wasn't it? Yeah, it was. So I'm not just sitting here saying, oh, this guy's going to die, that guy's going to die. I'm just being realistic, and I'm just trying to write the best story possible. Because Ahsoka Tano dying would be so meaningful to any story that it happened in that it would be like, what? Din Djarin dying in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie would be the greatest catalyst for a Mando trilogy ever. And you can't deny it! You can't deny it! I will admit that I was only wrong once. And that was The Bad Batch Season 3. I was predicting that all the Bad Batch were going to die the entire season. And they didn't. And it was better. It was better than them dying. I will admit when I'm wrong. And I was definitely wrong. Because that season finale for Mando Season 3 was perfection. Absolute perfection. And it's because they didn't die. Yeah. Yeah. Ian says, I'm really demotivated after The Acolyte. Oh, I wanted a Season 2 so much. Yeah, we do have some Season 2 Acolyte news today regarding the possibility of there being some sort of glimmer of hope for an Acolyte Season 2. And that comes from Manny Jacinto. And it also comes from DragonCon, which was we were talking about to start this stream. So let's actually switch our gears over to that, shall we? Let's switch gears just a tad bit, shall we? Let's put this poll up here. So let's end that poll, which was, do you think we'll see Abeloth in Ahsoka Season 2? Almost 80% of you say yes, but let's put this poll up here. Do you still want an Acolyte Season 2? So I know the Acolyte is the most divisive Star Wars topic that can be talked about, probably even more so now than the freaking Last Jedi. But let's talk about it. And again, I urge you guys to play nice in the chat. But let's talk about it, because it is a very big piece of the news today. Where is it? Here we go. Okay. So Manny Jacinto has claimed that he is making it his life goal to get Acolyte Season 2 to happen. Okay? His life goal. Now, whether you like The Acolyte or not, that's completely up to you, and it's your own opinion, and that's perfectly fine. But to me, The Acolyte was really good. And to me, Qimir, the stranger, we don't even know his name, but the character that Manny Jacinto portrays in The Acolyte show is one of the coolest characters we've got ever. He's one of the best characters in Star Wars, period. End of sentence. And I want more. I want more Plagueis. I want more Qimir. I want to see the backstory of Venestra and Qimir. They're falling out. I want more. And Manny Jacinto says he wants more too. So let's read this article, shall we? Manny Jacinto says making Star Wars The Acolyte Season 2 is his life goal. Star Wars actor Manny Jacinto said that making Season 2 of The Acolyte is his personal life goal. Digital LA shared a video of Jacinto at Atlanta's Dragon Con where he was asked what he would want to achieve before dying. And his answer, Season 2 of The Acolyte. And the audience, of course, cheered in response to that, as I'm sure the people at the Manny Jacinto panel are big-time Acolyte fans. He seems to be the guy who's most vocal about the possibility of there being a Season 2 of The Acolyte, and that's the best part. He is, to me, the best character from that season. And now the actor of that character is the one who's trying to back a Season 2 the most. He is the one who probably benefits the most off of a second season as well, as this was the biggest role of his career and the best role of his career so far. And his character is so good that he wants to see more. I want to see more, and I'm sure you want to see more too. The power of Manny, exactly. The power of Manny. Hopefully the power of Manny is enough to get a second season, but let's keep reading. The Disney Plus show was canceled just a month after the finale was released, following middling viewership numbers and critical reception. The Acolyte takes us to an earlier era in Star Wars than we've ever seen on screen, with mixed results, awkward dialogue, and some small scope robbed it of some of its series' signature magic, or space magic. Sorry. But these old school Jedi are a thrill to watch in action. IGN gave it a 6 out of 10 for the whole series. That was their review for the series as well, right there. Even if you don't like The Acolyte, which I know many of you probably don't, you can't deny that a few things they did were completely done right and how everything should be done for the rest of time when it comes for Star Wars. And the one big thing is lightsaber duels. The lightsaber duels in Episode 5 and in Episode 8 are incredible. They're some of the best we've seen ever in Star Wars, and they're definitely the best we've seen since 2005. So the fact that we got that in The Acolyte needs to be emphasized more moving forward. Every Star Wars project that has a lightsaber duel in it needs the guy who is the choreographer for these scenes in The Acolyte as the choreographer for moving forward. He was the guy who did the Rogue One hallway scene with Vader, and he was the guy who did all the fight scenes in this Acolyte show, and he needs to be hired for every project moving forward. That's just should go without being said. But let's keep reading. Manny Jacinto, Acolyte, answer question. What is my personal life goal? Answer Season 2 of The Acolyte, with massive applause and cheers at DragonCon panel, and that came from that. Many fans, and of course its stars, have been very vocal about the cancellation. However, Li Jiangjia said that he was quite surprised because everybody else wasn't surprised. They saw it coming. I believe we talked about Amanda Steinberg, who plays the main role of May in Osha. She talked about how she wasn't surprised at all. She knew from the moment that this show was announced that it would be canceled and would not get a second season, as clearly the fans were divided on the reception to the show from the announcement of it. And then from the trailer announcement, and then it had a 13% before we even got to watch it. Okay. But Li Jiangjia was quite surprised to hear that it wasn't getting a second season, as he praised Leslie Headland. Amanda Steinberg, of course, knew that it was coming. Blah, 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 blah. But that's about it, I guess. That's the news. That's the news. When Manny Jacinto was asked what his life goal would be, or what he wants to achieve before dying, his response was Season 2 of The Acolyte. So if there's any hope for any Star Wars fans who are looking for hope, for a possibility of there still being an Acolyte Season 2, That's your hope. The main, best character, in my personal opinion, from the first season of The Acolyte, the biggest actor probably left alive in the cast, wants more. And the fans are galvanizing behind him, wanting more as well. Because the continuation of this show, there's no more Jecki, there's no more Yor, there's no more Li Jiangcha's character of Master Soul. There's no more of that. They're all dead. The show continues with Qimir, and it continues with Plagueis. And Star Wars fans want more of that, or at least a portion of them do. Yeah. So that's the news when it comes to The Acolyte, and fans still holding out hope for a possible second season. There's your hope. Manny Jacinto, his lifelong goal is to get The Acolyte Season 2 done. And where there's a will, there's a way. And where there's the power of Manny, there's even more of a way. This is the way.
This is where the fun begins.
Some fans were talking about the possible continuation of this Acolyte story, or the possible continuation of Qimir and Plagueis' story in a different show. Just retitle the show. Maybe even get new writers. Who knows? Just call it The Stranger. Who knows? Plagueis. Any way we can get the continuation of these characters, any way we can get the continuation of this story, I'm perfectly fine with. It doesn't have to be called The Acolyte Season 2. It doesn't have to be even referenced as The Acolyte Season 2. I just want the continuation of Qimir, Plagueis, Vanestra, Osha, and May. That's it. Okay. I do believe we had something else to get to here. Oh, yes. Yes, this was big. So, Star Wars Outlaws came out over the weekend on Friday for the standard people. Give me a 1 into the chat if you're playing Star Wars Outlaws. Adam, what's up? Give me a 1 into the chat if you're playing Star Wars Outlaws. Give me a 2 in the chat if you're watching somebody play Star Wars Outlaws. Give me a 3 in the chat if you haven't touched Star Wars Outlaws at all and don't intend to either. Let's see it. Now, honestly, it doesn't really matter, because we're talking about the possibility of Kay Vess, who is the main character of Star Wars Outlaws, to come into live action. And this also is talking about Cal Kestis coming to live action as well. Star Wars video games have always been a big portion of the Star Wars fandom. From the old games, from the Knights of the Old Republic, to even older, what the hell's the Squadron? It's not called Squadrons, is it? The new one's called Squadrons. The old one also called Squadron? I don't know, whatever. There's been Star Wars video games since there's been video games, and they've always been very, very popular, especially the Knights of the Old Republic games, but even now so the Jedi games with Cal Kestis. So many fans want to see those characters come into live action, like many fans want to see those Old Republic characters also in live action as well. But there's two main ones as of right now. That is Cal Kestis, and that is Kay Vess, who was just introduced in Star Wars Outlaws. So, with that, somebody asked if Kay Vess would be coming into live action to the voice actress of the character. And that is Humberly Gonzalez. Is that how you pronounce her name? Humberly? Okay, whatever. Let's read this, shall we? Humberly Gonzalez addresses possibility of playing Star Wars Outlaws Kay Vess in a future live-action project. Let's read this. So, I'm guessing that's supposed to be Nyx behind the scenes. That's pretty funny. But this is her behind the scenes there, and that's Kay Vess. There you go. She's in Star Trek, I guess. Star Wars Outlaws arrived on consoles last Friday and takes gamers into the galaxy far, far away on an adventure alongside of scoundrel Kay Vess. Along the way, players follow the character as she navigates the Star Wars franchise's seedy underworld, working with or crossing one criminal gang at a time. All right, let's get to the good stuff here. So this is her talking about the game itself, but this is her talking about Kay Vess coming to live action. I think it would be incredible to see Kay Vess in live action, because one thing that we don't see in animation is those micro expressions of a real human being on screen, and that's sort of some people's complaints when it comes to deepfake as well, because when you deepfake a character, those micro expressions are really hard to find out. But everybody listen to Lee in the chat and smash a freaking like on the stream. But let's talk about this. So she said this, and it would be incredible for me to experience what it would be like to be literally in her costume, in her appearance, her likeness, and in her landscape, and see her interact with the real characters and real creatures. It would be a dream come true. I certainly would not say no to that opportunity, and I think there is so many opportunities to see Kay Vess in other aspects of established roles in Star Wars, because we are in the original trilogy, and there's so many opportunities for her to exist or show up in different places. It would be amazing, and I think fans would love it as well. I think fans would love it too. This is Kay Vess here, and that's her there. Obviously, they made the character look similar to the voice actress yet again, like they did with Cal Kestis and Cameron Monaghan. So my question to you, chat, is do you want to see Cal Kestis and Kay Vess, for that matter, in live action? They established these two characters specifically in a way that they can be brought into live action. Cal Kestis is young enough to be around during the time of the Mandoverse. Kay Vess is definitely young enough to be around in the time of the Mandoverse and be brought into live action. Let's actually pull this up, shall we? Let's pull it up. Cal Kestis would be, I think, bigger when it comes to live action. Do you want Cal Kestis and Kay Vess in live action? Yes or no? I think Cal Kestis would probably be bigger because more fans really love a Jedi character. Kay Vess would be like more of a cool little introduction into live action. I feel like she would be sort of like she would be more like a Bo-Katan coming into live action, and Cal Kestis would be more like an Ahsoka Tano. One is just far bigger than the other, but both would still be very, very cool. And it seems like, oh my God, 100%. It seems like the majority of you, 100% of you right now, it probably will change, but it seems like the majority of you would agree that they should be involved. Cal Kestis actually has more of an involvement with the possible heir to the Empire being Grand Admiral Thrawn in the connection to the Night Sisters of Dathomir, because he has fallen in love with the Night Sister of Dathomir, Merrin. So we could see Merrin even in live action as well and see that story continue in that too. Bo-Katan is cool. I know Bo-Katan is cool. I'm just more so comparing her to a Kay Vess type character and Cal Kestis to Ahsoka. That wasn't a slight by any means. Those characters are both great characters. Yeah. David says Cal Kestis for sure, but I don't know about the Outlaws character. Well, the Outlaws character now has connections to all of these characters. She has connection to Jabba the Hutt. She has connections to Lando. So if we are to see, she has connections to a lot more people than that. I just went off topic. She has connections to Kiara. So if we are to see the Crimson Dawn, if we are to see Lando, Luke, Leia, Han in live action, Kay Vess could be there as well. And I feel like the perfect spot to put any of these characters in live action is Skeleton Crew, because Skeleton Crew is coming out in a few months, and we know almost nothing about the show, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. Because on the one hand, keeping a lot of secrets is good news, because that means there's secrets to be kept. On the other hand, maybe it's because there's nothing going on in the show. I'm hoping it's the first one rather than the latter, but I'm hoping that there's a lot of secrets coming in Skeleton Crew. Since it was announced, I was saying that Cal Kestis could make an appearance in this show. Right now, it seems a little less likely, but I'm still holding out hope for that. But maybe Kay Vess could even show up, because this is going to be more of an underworld pirates type of show, and that's where Kay Vess would exist in the Star Wars universe. Yeah. Not really. There's always been an apprentice taking on the potential apprentice. When they were planning to kill the master, we saw this with Palpatine already with Maul. I don't know what that's in reference to, but yes. Kay's facial features are not as one-to-one as with the actress as Cal is. Yes and no. Obviously, they had to make Kay's face different than Cal's because it's an open-world Star Wars game and it's running a lot differently. But she does look similar. Like, it could be pulled off. It could be easily pulled off. You give her the right hairstyle, you give her the right outfit, you're not going to misrecognize her as Kay Vess. But yes, Cal Kestis, on the other hand, Cameron Monaghan looks exactly like Cal Kestis. There's no if ands or buts about it. Yeah. Yeah. It would be cool to see Cal in a show about the path. That would be cool. I mean, I'm more so talking about Cal Kestis coming in the Mandoverse, but yeah, if he were to come in before the original trilogy, that would be pretty cool too. There needs to be an explanation as to where these characters are during the original trilogy. Ahsoka, Hera, the Ghost crew, but Cal Kestis in particular. Cal Kestis is a Jedi. Not only that, he's trying to help the galaxy in a drastic way with the hidden path in Jedi Survivor, with Tanalorr. Like, why is he not helping the rebellion take down the Empire by the time of the original trilogy? Where is he in all of that? That needs to be explained if he is going to appear in the Mandoverse. And maybe that's why he hasn't yet, you know? Yeah, I know. Adam says, I want a syndicate show like one that will be Crimson Dawn stealing from the Empire. Or something that is just a show that you don't need to watch and it's in the background that you can watch while you're doing homework. Well, first of all, no. But yes, I know what you're saying. I do want an Underworld show. Following the Crimson Dawn would be great because you could see Darth Maul train Kira, which would be fan-freaking-tastic. But like an Underworld multiple season show would be pretty cool. It would be pretty cool. Yeah. He already confirmed that he's the master in an interview with Leslie Headland. What do we think? Wait, what? Is Tenebrous still alive? No, I don't think Tenebrous is still alive by the time of the Acolyte. Plagueis is the master at that point. Yeah. Mike, do you think Grogu will die in the Mandoverse movie? That would sell seats and be so big, LOL. Funny. No, I don't think Grogu will die in the Mando movie, but I do think Din Djarin will. Yeah. Yeah. Basically, the question was, was the Plagueis tease necessary? And I say absolutely. He is proof that the Sith lineage to the general audience, and that Qimir was seeking an Acolyte. Yeah, I mean, obviously it was on purpose and clearly needed. Yeah. Acolyte Season 2 isn't happening. That's the truth as of right now. All right, let me end this poll. As 93% of you, the math is not mathing, but 93% of you do want Cal Kestis and Kay Vess in live action, and I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. All right, I am going to get on out of here, though, because we've been going for over 2 hours, and we went over almost all the news. I believe that I wanted to, but I'm losing my voice, and I still gotta get going. So I appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks for having you. No, thanks for coming. I appreciate all of you guys so much more than you'll ever know. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not yet. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video. And my pretty face will show up on the recommended feed of yours. If you are not yet in the Discord, there's a Discord in the description below. So go join that Discord. Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Huge shout outs to David and John Groom for the very generous super chats. Keeps the lights on over here. I appreciate it quite a bit. And may the force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you guys so much more than you will ever know. Star Wars Facts, what's up? Don't worry about it. You can go watch it on the replay. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody.